He has a flap. It's a cat door, so his cat can go in and out.
Cats don't need to go outside.
They don't need to go outside, especially not in an apartment complex.
They don't need to go outside. I mean, I would love to live in an environment where you can let your cats go outside and all that shit. But I'm not dealing with fleas. If you've never had fleas before, you really don't understand. And I've had fleas. I've had fleas twice that were like bad. Once when I was in Virginia, and we didn't understand what was going on. So it took us like a week to catch on to what was going on. So by then
Yeah,
it
if you've
was
never had them, you don't really.
it was everywhere. You just be like, what the hell? Why? What's going on? Why am I so itchy? Because flea bites hurt.
Yeah.
They feel like little stings. And one of the roommates had a cat that would go in and out of the house. And she got fleas one day, but we got them one time when we were in Detroit. And we were in an old, decrepit piece of shit house in the hood. And the absolute worst part of it was our fucking neighbor. Our neighbor was this scuzz who knew he had fleas and was just like, fuck it, I don't care. They'll go away eventually. And we were like, well, then you can't come over. We're not going to your house anymore. Like, but you would go to their house and they would, you'd find them on you. And so we ended up getting them. And mind you, we had two huge dogs and two cats. One cat at the time.
No.
Two cats. Two cats. And we had a 12-month-old.
I don't even think
16 month.
Barry yet. It was just Archie. Archie, Willie, and
We had
Scott.
Barry. We've had Barry since Birmingham. You moron. Yeah. But it was so bad in our house that we ended up having our kid go stay at her mom's for a week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. And we bombed it and bombed it and bombed it, and they just wouldn't go away. So finally, we went and got the bag of diatomaceous earth, and I literally grabbed the bag by the bottom and spun around, and it was just.
It looked like somebody.
Yeah, it looked like a snow globe.
Exploded.
Yeah, it looked like a snow globe. It looked like that scene in Bedazzled when he shoots the Coke package and
Everywhere, yeah.
and it's because
we did the whole yard.
we did
front and
everything.
back.
We did everything. It was so fucking miserable. And then to, take your kid's diaper off and a flea is in the diaper and you're like, what the, Oh, it was so bad. So I am traumatized, completely traumatized.
It took us 2.5 months to get rid of those fleas that time.
Right. If I know there's fleas, if there's a chance there's fleas, if I know you might have fleas, nope. Not worth seeing you. Not worth it.
All the sprays, all the carpet powders, all the.
The only thing that works is the diatomaceous earth.
We bombed it 3 times.
Yeah, the bombs don't do anything. The bombs just make them move, like hunker down until the shit clears, and then they come right back out. No, the diatomaceous earth it's that powder shit when you open up bread, and the bread has that weird powder on it.
That's what. It's flour.
Yeah, you think it's flour. It's not. It's diatomaceous earth.
It's to keep the bugs from getting in the bread.
Right. And
it's a mineral, so
that's even if it's not 100% safe, it's better than fleas. And so what it does is, because they're so small and its microparticles are so small that when the fleas get it into their breathing mechanism, it just slices them up on the inside. It's like glass for them, and they just die. So it's the only way you get rid of them. It's a lot cheaper, and it's a lot more effective, and a lot faster. So
it's safer for your animals and kids.
Yeah,
When you're doing the yard, you use diatomaceous earth, table salt, and borax bleach. Put it in a fertilizer spreader, and take it up and down your yard. Do also 3 feet on the outside of the perimeter of your fence. If you don't get permission from your neighbors, just stand at your fence and sprinkle it over.
I couldn't care less. I do not care about your permission when it comes to fleas. And I would love to see you try to call the cops on me spreading a mineral around. Couldn't care less. fleas are such
Well,
such
and if
a
you're not in a scuzzy neighborhood and you tell your neighbor, hey, I'm treating for fleas, it's all natural. Do you want
I
to
don't
do
give a
your
shit.
yard too? They're going to be like, fuck yeah, we don't want them.
You'd think.
If you're in a nicer neighborhood.
You'd think. You'd think. But people can always surprise you. People are Christians. I am so I'm scared. I've never actually felt this fear before. And I've been in the conspiracy circles and all that shit for a very long time. So it's not like some inexperience or something that's causing this fear. It's not like overwhelming. Oh my God, I've suddenly got into the conspiracy world and I'm overwhelmed by everything, because that's a very real thing that people experience. But for me, it's this fear of Christianity. I'm really scared of what I'm seeing, because I don't necessarily know how can it work. I mean, you're seeing every popular truther out there is not telling you to wake up to Christianity. That these guys will be talking about Israel, talking about the friars, talking about this, talking about that, and then they'll be like, and they hate Jesus. They hate our Jesus. And it's like, well, like, do you not understand? Like, I put Coop as my picture, right? Because Coop just dropped another Epstein video. Coop made one of the best Epstein videos I've ever seen. His previous Epstein video is literally one of the best Epstein videos I've ever seen, talking about things that most people don't. And really, I pretty much think that Coop is one of those $7,000 a month Israeli shills that we heard about. But it's he is. I posted every single time he posts a video, like, man, I sure would love to see you, because you make these really great videos that seem almost beyond your years and your capabilities, and you just came out of nowhere and you just started making these really, really well done videos. Why don't you do one of your really good deep dives into Christianity? Because he's like a huge Christian. Yeah, it makes no sense when they end with praise Jesus. It doesn't. It's like, it's like somebody being like, no, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry. I could eat. It's like, what do you mean? You just got done saying how you're not even hungry, and now you're like, give me a smorgasbord? The fuck are you talking about? And it's literally, I can't even think of a truther that doesn't do that. I can't think of a truther that doesn't push one of the two Abrahamic religions. I've seen more Muslim truthers as of late, but again, that's just, you're a Muslim truther? How hard do you have to work to not find the truth? How hard, like, how hard do you have to censor yourself to maintain your Christian or Muslim viewpoint? And they're fucking identical. And talking to a Christian is no different than talking to a Muslim. Seriously. Other than, like, a lot of times the Muslims English isn't their first language, so they struggle a little bit. But really, a lot of times their English is better than your average everyday dumbass fucking or black Christian. I mean, I love watching The Godfather, right? Because I don't, pardon me, it should be canceled. But The Godfather is one of those things where you're just like, how the fuck are you guys so religious? The end scene is Michael Corleone doing his goddaughter's communion while the fucking murders of everybody is going on, and He kills Carlo. Or at least has Carlo killed. The baby's father. His faja. His faja. It is all the same, says the God-seeking atheist. What a funny-ass name. That sounds like a perpetual failure. You know? That's a self-defeating prophecy as the God-seeking atheist. I like it. I'm just saying. But ask yourself, why do people feel like they need to seek out God, religion, you know, the master? Why are people so programmed into thinking that, you know, you're just not good enough? But again, going back to the whole mafia, how can you be a mafia guy? You have your gumads, you know, you fuck all these broads, you smack your wife around when she gets out of line, you kill people like it's nothing, but boy, oh boy, are you extremely religious. What how does that even work? Well, we don't sell drugs in our neighborhood, just to the blacks. Oh, well, I know the Bible says that. It's like what kind of, how stupid am I supposed to be? You clearly don't believe in God, or else you're just really big on the hey. Have you not heard about that loophole? Yeah, no, I just do all this really bad shit and then I repent. You know, when I'm doing a whole bunch of coke, every time I do a line, I repent right afterward, just in case my heart explodes in between now and the next line. I mean, where is the sense in that? That's what I was saying. The Godfather must have been just before you got here. Cancel The Godfather. That movie's awful. It's crazy how the older I get, the worse I think it is. Where you see it pushing these stereotypes. But, of course, more than anything, there's the 30-year-old Al Pacino sex scene with a 15-year-old Simonetta. That part. She might have even been 14 at the time. Yeah, that part's really fucking gross. And the reality is, so the way that scene worked is they had gotten her away from her mother. And she didn't even really know she was doing the scene. They pulled her off into the side and they were like, hey, we're going to do this scene real quick. And so that weird, like, insecurity and fear that you see in her eyes, she's not acting. That was the first take. Hey, Mary, you're the best. You know, like, do you not, like, so I thought I'm gonna have my kids. This was 4 years ago. You know, they're like 8 and 10, maybe 9 and 11, maybe. I'm like, you guys, we got to watch The Godfather. It's a rite of passage. You guys need to learn. There's a lot of lessons to learn here. Namely, don't fuck with the Italians. You know, like, there's a whole bunch of... Mary, you are the best. I appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you very much. Mary donated to the cause, and that's fucking amazing. You know, and what she said was, hey, you know what? You do a lot, and I appreciate the entertainment and the education that you provide me. So here, how can I help you out? And that, you have no idea how much that helps out. No idea. You have no fucking idea how much that helps out, specifically right now. But so they have her, you know, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. You notice how there's no dialogue in the scene. Nobody had to remember any lines. They literally separate her from her mom, take her in this back room. They're like, hey, we need to do this scene. Got to take off your shirt and then do the whatnot with Al Pacino here. And so she's taking off her shirt all insecure and weird. And so, like I say, I'm watching it with my boys. And she takes off her shirt, and my boys both go, ew, what's wrong with her boobs? Because she had little 14-year-old fucking prepubescent boobs. Even my young kids knew that that's not right. They weren't at all. They weren't like, oh shit. These are little boys, and the first thing they think is, ew, what's wrong with that? Those don't look right. Do you look at anyone that identifies as religious as, yeah, you haven't figured anything out yet? I don't know. It's like I almost like I pity them. I don't know. I look at religious people with pity. I think of you as stupid. I really do. And it's crazy to me when, like, you know, you're much more successful than I am. So how can you be stupid and me be smarter than you? Look where I live. Look what I've done with my life. Look at what you've done with your life. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a weird thing. And then there are people like my brother-in-law who are extremely smart, but like they're really good at regurgitating, and they're very smart. Again, it's more like an encyclopedia, right? Like I used to call him Jeopardy, because he knows what you're supposed to know, and he is as anti-alternative conspiracy theory as possible. These are the people that during COVID would come home from wherever they went. As soon as I would imagine they never went anywhere as a family, because that would have just been too hard to do. But when they come home, whoever it was would have to strip down, run up and get in the shower real quick, rinse all off, and then the clothes would get washed. And they did this day after day. 4 people in the household, and they're doing this multiple times a day. They ran out and got every shot you can get. I don't know if they had the kids get boosters, but I know the adults got every booster you can get. And my brother-in-law literally ended up in the hospital 3 separate times during COVID. One time, they were about to put him on a fucking ventilator. Can you imagine if your brother would have died in the hospital and you weren't allowed to go see him? That's just insane to think about. And that happened to lots of people. Especially the people they put on ventilators. Because when you don't need a ventilator, guess what it does? Guess what it does? Guess what it does? Guess what it does? It kills you. But if you were to ask him to this day, we are irresponsible, are you know, nuts, are crazy, are all this shit. And if it all when it all comes back around again, well, I'm surprised it didn't come back around yet. There's still the spring. He'll run out and do it again. This extremely smart individual, way smarter than me in on paper, you know, in the real world, I guess. This dumbass didn't connect the dots that every time he went and got one of those boosters, 2 weeks later, he was in the hospital. Or at least got super sick. He didn't always go to the hospital. He got super sick multiple times. But literally, the
hospital twice, right?
3 times. The last time, when they were going to put him on the ventilator, it was literally 2 weeks after he had gotten the shot. And he was saying, well, thank God I got the shot. Imagine how bad it would have been if I wouldn't have gotten that.
No, dude, that's what got you sick.
No, you're crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're blah, 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 blah. Like, and it's just, and he gets vicious and mean. And the thing is, like, he knows he's wrong and you know he's wrong because he's not even willing to hear the arguments. If he knew he was right and there was nothing he could say, like, and he could just debunk any argument he say, he's exactly the type of person that would be like, yeah, bring it. I will smash every argument you can put forth. But when it comes to anything along this lines, he's like, I don't want to even talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. He turns into this weird fucking child.
He won't talk about the oils. He still to this day thinks that the radiation is what put Mom in remission the first time, and that he's glad she agreed to chemo the second time.
Right. When she stopped the radiation
And came to us.
And did the oil regimen where they actually told her, like, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. We're sorry. There's not much more we can do, especially if you're not gonna do the radiation. And then when she went into remission, they were like, what the fuck? You're not supposed to be in remission.
Called her a miracle.
Right.
They literally said, you are a miracle.
We have multiple accounts, multiple examples of how we're right and you're wrong. It's not even ambiguous.
To this day, he says it was the radiation that put her in remission the first time.
How? How does he justify that?
I even said to him, they flat out told her the radiation will get up to everything but 10% of what's left. Like they did the mastectomy.
But it wasn't working.
And they said this will get up to 90% of whatever's left in the breastplate that we were not able to remove when we did the mastectomy. Because she still had some left. And so they even told her, you're still going to have at least 10% left.
If you do it. It wasn't like there was just 10% left.
And she did do most of it. But she stopped a few sessions before it was completed.
Because it was killing her. And go figure, guess what? When she got the cancer that killed her, guess where it started from? Right where the fucking radiation went into her chest. Yep. Right where the gun pointed at her chest. That's where it came from.
Yep.
Wonder what that was. Which is crazy because, because of the way the system works, you then create people like my wife who are like, no, nothing. So instead of us having like the best of both worlds, Western and other medication or other medicine, because of how they respond and how they act and what they do and say, my wife's I'm not doing any of that shit. I'm not a part. Like, and it creates a negative any way you slice it. It's such a strange, like we are. Who thinks the people that clearly rule the world have our best interest in mind?
But people really do. The government looks out for us. You hear that all the time. They wouldn't make laws unless it was to protect us and help us.
And you know what? Sure, fine. If you're,
I used to feel that way.
Right, exactly. If you, and that's used to. It's like, that's the thing. Like today, the only way you can think that way is if you really, really want to, so you refuse to see anything else.
Ignore so much.
Right. Not just ignore, but refuse it. Like, I could be like, hey, let me show you this. And instead of you listening and pretending like you're not, you're like, fuck that. I don't want to see any evidence whatsoever to the contrary. I want to believe this. Christians. Just wondering, are you an atheist or do you follow any religion? You haven't figured that one out yet? I'm the same as your wife. I have epilepsy and refuse to take medication. I don't... God, that's such a fucked up thing. Like, part of me is like, you gotta take the medication, right? Like, grand mal seizures are so dangerous and so awful, and I know a little bit about your situation and how important you are to your situation, and oh man, that's such a hard one, because like we do have chemical imbalances. We do have things that are wrong, and there are drugs and there are techniques and there are good doctors out there. It exists. It's just really difficult. Really difficult. Is there an oil regimen for epilepsy?
Yes.
Well, I would do that. Without a so I'm not allowed to tell you oils do anything by law. And we all know I don't give a fuck. But as far as like testimonies go, I could give you testimonies from different stories from people I've heard. I can also give you personal testimony. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, my wife would be dead multiple times over, actually, if not for the oils. But one time that I can say, this is where I can just like you can say, you know, some of the mental stuff or some of the, you know, maybe even the cholesterol stuff. I guess maybe you could say something or other if you wanted to, but my wife has genetically bad. Um, they just needed to. They couldn't be. There's nothing they could do. It's not my wife doesn't brush her shit and all. It's a genetic thing. My youngest got it from her actually. Um, they from me. My teeth are fucking rocks, man. My teeth are. I've been hit in the face with. I got hit one time. So I worked at a company that has that we used to do concrete walls, and one of the main components to concrete walls is rebar. Rebar is what they make the frame out of before they pour the concrete in it. So the rebar, you know, would come in these long 20-foot pieces, big ass bundles that you know you couldn't move if you wanted to. We would have to use the high-low to get them off the trucks, or to get them on the trucks, and then to get them off the trucks, you would get something under it and you would pry it up and just get it to fall off the truck, right? Well, we had done that several times, and to get it under it, to be able to even put it on the truck, you have to use, you know, the high-low, and the only way you can get the little, you know, tong things underneath, you have to have 4x4s, you know, or 4x8s actually. We would have 4x8s, so those big square, not a 2x4, a 4x8. So it would be 8 foot long by, you know, a 4-inch square. And those things were like, you know, 20, 30 pounds. I don't know how much a fucking 4x4 weighs or 4x8 weighs, but they were heavy duty. And we would, when we were in the yard, when we had to pry something off, sometimes we would do it or whatever, where you would knock off one side, the back end of the rebar, while the front end, or either or, was still on the 4x8. If you could get the 4x8 to slide out a little bit, and you crank the bundle, it would catch the 4x8 and just throw it 30 feet end over end. A big 4x8. Right? One time, I'm on the job, and I'm prying the rebar off, when all of a sudden I just sort of, somebody takes my picture. I'm like, what the fuck? I start stumbling around. I'm standing on the back of a flatbed, mind you, and I just sort of fall down. I never lost consciousness. My lip got busted open a little bit, but the 4x8 had gotten caught. And as it was getting flung up to go flying 20, 30 feet, it ended up hitting me right in the face. Boom! Like, that's the kind of shot that kills people. That breaks jaws. That knocks teeth out. That, the fact that I survived that, the fact that I just got a couple of stitches in my lip,
That's incredible.
it doesn't even make any sense. Those guys were all looking at me like, holy shit. And then they let me drive. They made me drive back to the shop. I definitely shouldn't have been driving. If I would have just cut the wheel and crashed, I could have sued the shit out of that company. I haven't told that story in years. I forgot about it. But it was like suddenly somebody took my picture and everything went black. And I was like, what the fuck was that? I can't believe, I'm thinking about it now. Like, I think about that happening to my child. Dude, that shatters your face when that, how did that not,
I have no idea.
that doesn't even make any sense. Now that I'm like, it actually hit me. It hit me and fell back down. It didn't even keep going. I took all of it. Boom! And the
And
thing
it
fell.
kept going?
Huh?
Oh, and it fell back?
Yeah, it hit me and fell down. Instead of keeping going,
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I took all of it. How the fuck did that happen? Cool. Glad you're here. What story was I telling before? I told this story, though. I was going to say something. I forgot what it was going to be. It was about medications and stuff like that. I don't fucking know. Lost in the ether. It's crazy. That's fucking crazy. It just reset my whole thing. I don't even know what we were talking about. The wife, medications, right? So my wife's teeth, the teeth. No, it was the teeth. So my wife's teeth, they need to be pulled, and they end up getting an infection. And her face fucking swole up. Whole face, but the one side was just huge. And it got so bad. Like, now, my wife is the type that falls asleep during a tattoo. You know, an absolute psychopath, right? Pain is, she went through a double root canal while pregnant with no anesthesia.
2 different root canals, 2 different pregnancies. 1 for each pregnancy.
But one was a double. Yeah, I don't remember you getting it both times. I only remember.
No, both times. Both times had a root canal. It was awful. Because they sucked all the nutrients out of me.
Just imagine if we had oils back then. You could have totally taken oils and the baby would have been fine. I mean, God, I wish we had oils while you were pregnant. Can you imagine how much better those kids would be? How much healthier, how much stronger. Because she would have been on a fucking heavy-duty oil regimen. But she's so fucked up that she's literally sitting in the room in the dark, no TV, no nothing during the day, just going, That's all she's doing for like hours. She's just, the infection must have been so tremendous, so close to her brain that it was just shutting everything down. And we had just sort of gotten into the oil, so we weren't as familiar yet. Nowadays it would be different. But at one point, I'm like, well, did you take the oils? And she was like,
My brain doesn't work.
So I ran downstairs and I got her a flume, which is frankincense, lemon, oregano, on guard, and melaleuca, along with 2 drops of fractionated coconut oil into a little capsule. I came up here, I gave it to her, and within about 15 minutes, she was asleep for the first time in days. And she ended up sleeping for like 16 hours or some shit. And when she woke up, she was still all fucked up. But she didn't feel like she was going to die. Because she felt like she was going to die. And she wouldn't let me take her to the hospital. I was this close. If she hadn't passed out and woke up feeling better, I would have just picked her up and taken her. She wouldn't have had a choice. And she wouldn't have been able to fight me because she was so fucked up. And it took about a week of her on a regiment where, before she said, I'm finally starting to feel better. And then, it was another few months before we could actually get the teeth pulled. And she was able to stave off the infection the entire time, and ended up doing what had to be done. But if it was if I would have taken her into the hospital, she probably still would have died. Because if the infection was like right here, it was like right about to get to her brain, I would imagine. But she, if you go to the hospital and they give you antibiotics don't work. Not immediately.
Oh my God, what was the chef's name?
Barnett. Yeah. She was so fucked up. I'm sorry. If she would have gone to the hospital, if she would have gotten through it, then there's the months afterward where we can't get the teeth pulled, that she has to stave off the infection, and you can't do that with antibiotics. Antibiotics kill all the good and the bad. She would have been so fucked up, they wouldn't even prescribed it. They wouldn't have prescribed her antibiotic round after round after round after round. But there is no explanation. Not even prayer. She didn't even pray. She wasn't like, last ditch resort, I'm going to pray, this, that, and the other. No other medicine was given. Nothing else happened but one oil capsule. I would love to know what an Anthony would have to say. What does he have to say about something like that? See, the thing is, he would never listen to that whole story because he wouldn't be able to say anything in contrary. So he would constantly be, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, I don't have time for this. Oh, well, let's not. He would just never listen. But there is no other answer. Why do you stream? To hopefully make a difference, but to show all the other people out there that are like me, that are desperately searching for like-minded similarity, that there is someone else out there that's like you, that thinks about these things, that doesn't believe in God and questions everything, and that believes we should eliminate the Friar control scheme. That absolutely thinks there is no stone should be unturned, no resource should be withheld when it comes to killing pedophiles. We should absolutely kill them all. So, I provide the stream I can't find. That's about it. Just like I make the music I can't find. I can't find music that inspires me and makes me think and is good to listen to and all that stuff, so we had to make it. And I can't find a stream of somebody who actually tells the truth, looks into things intelligently, and, I don't think there's a chance where they're probably an Israeli shoe. Are you planning on making a career out of this? Do you see this? Me making a career out of whatever is long past. How could I ever make a career out of something when I'm censored the way I am? It's like a joke, man. Understand, 6 months ago, I can show you the screenshots. Not normally, but a lot of times I use the screenshots from that as my thumbnail here. But I can show you that 6 months ago, I was allowed to have as much as 40,000 views. I was consistently getting many, many thousands of views every single feed I did, snatching up subscribers left and right, doing what you think is how, somebody becomes an influencer. You would think that's what you do. And you get these, I was getting numbers that famous people don't get. When I'm getting 20, 30,000 on a 3-hour feed by the time I'm done. Yeah, somebody else might get 20,000, but that's long after the fact. Most of the feeds I follow don't get those kind of numbers, especially when you have such a small following. When only have 1,000 following, I shouldn't be able to get those kind of numbers. 500 following, I shouldn't get those kind of numbers. And anybody who wants to can go prove me wrong. But if you look at my feeds, the day after Charlie got kirked is the day whatever's happening on my feed now. Since Charlie was kirked, I was allowed, I think, 3 videos that went over 1,000, and the Charlie video was like 2,800 or something like that. But since then, nothing. And now look, we have these goofy ass clowns that can't even fucking, like, they're trying to talk their shit and they can't even get it right. You should have a lot of subscribers. You're real. It's obvious. You're censored, and that's ridiculous. You can't find truth like this anywhere else. Oh, I agree. That's why I do it. And you see the the dumbasses in the comments again. So me talking about killing pedos and overthrowing the friars, apparently that must have made him mad. Why would anybody come at the feed where I say we should kill pedos and overthrow friars with any sort of malice? And that's an answerable question, right? The only reason why you would come at me, of all people, of all the things you could be doing, all the different options on YouTube, Hulu, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, whatever, all the DVDs, all the video games, all the outside stuff you could do. Instead, you come here and talk shit to the guy who thinks we should kill pedos and overthrow the friars. Who is going to be mad at me other than pedos and friars? Man, I don't like to start in this industry. Also, I don't think looks matter that much when you're a man in the industry. Dude, I'm beautiful. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying, look how old I am. Starting a career is this has been going on for much longer than I think you think. Because look, I have 4 viewers. You would assume, like, you only have 4 viewers, you must have just started. If you're doing a live feed every day, well, then you're you're gonna have more viewers than 4. Exactly. But look at it, man. Just look at the look at what comes my way. If I was wrong, why would people waste their time? And why, if I'm wrong, why not just tell me what I'm wrong about? Make me look stupid. Like, everything that does anything other than addresses what I'm talking about and makes me look stupid, from my perspective, it makes me look better. It validates and inspires me to keep going. The only thing you could ever do that would be like detrimental, that would be a negative to me, is to attack my ego, right? Which is, I believe myself to be correct. I believe myself to be intelligent. I believe my argument to be sound. So if you really want to fuck with me, then just destroy my arguments. That would be your best bet. Everything else validates. Everything else, it just proves what I'm saying. And it doesn't even make sense. Why would you go on a feed, hear what someone's talking about, not address what they're talking about, but be like, you're wrong, I don't like you. For what? You don't know me. Do I not look right to you? Do you like your guys to have shorter hair, clean shaven? Is that how you like your dudes? 2.5 subs and 2 viewers. It makes no sense. There you go. That's not how shit works. When I had 100 subscribers, when I had 500 subscribers, my videos were flying. The comment section would just be ding, 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 ding. Craig saw it. And, it's not even me talking shit. And anybody can go double check. If I'm wrong, you can point it out. You can tell me. Show me somebody else that has 2.5 thousand subscribers and 2 viewers, 3, 4 viewers. Show me. Why are so many people subscribed to me, knowing this is what I do and this is what I talk about, only to never show up until they do, and then they're like, holy shit, man, where have you been? I haven't seen your videos in forever. There are lots of people who have been here for a while who know, like, yeah, you gotta do other things. You gotta search for things. You gotta, you can't just go to my page and the live will show up. Sometimes you're going to have to dig a little bit. Sometimes you're going to have to fight to be able to watch this feed because it won't let you. It just won't let you. Sometimes it'll tell you the stream ended when the stream didn't end. What the fuck just happened? Try this again. Why is this happening? What? This is so weird. It's not letting me share. So, try one more time. Copy link. Copied. Okay, let's try it again. Nope. Every time I keep trying to share my live, but it won't let me. Yeah, that was supposed to be the link. That's so fucking crazy. That's just goofy. So, Mary, I'm going to send you what happens when I try to send the link to the page. Why is this fucking happening right now? This is so silly. So just imagine how difficult it is. I can't share my own fucking feed. Imagine how difficult it is for you guys to do it. Here, let me try something real quick. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake. I thought it was I forgot that I used that as my profile picture or as the thumbnail. So I was like, why is the Coop video getting shared? Yeah, see, not perfect. Make mistakes. Not like embarrassed or ashamed or, I'm not going to be perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. That's why I left up the Anne Frank video. The funniest thing about the Anne Frank video to me is with all of the haters and shit that I have, it was 2 hours. A friendly person was like, hey, I think you're mixing Keller and Anne Frank. And I was like, oh shit, I am. It doesn't really detract from the story at all. I mean, you still have this idea of this 12-year-old girl who, had the foresight to think, I need to rewrite this and take some scenes out and make this more of a theatrical thing, just in case it's ever made into a book or it's ever made into a movie. And then rewrote it before she died in the camps. And the only one that survived was her dad. But it's so funny. Things happen, What can you say? Again, I'm not perfect. I'm going to mess up. But, to me, when you own your mistakes, that validates your truth, right? Like, if I know that you can be like, oh yeah, I was wrong about that, and then you tell me I was wrong about something, I'm much more likely to be like, hey, maybe I was wrong, because that person can admit when they're wrong, and you know, if I was wrong or if I was right, they would say so. So instead of you always telling me I'm wrong and then I'm supposed to believe every single time, 100% of the time, I'm just wrong 100% of the time. I love when I say happy holidays to people and they get mad. Merry Christmas, man. It's Merry Christmas.
Well, because Trump made the announcement that America's Christian again, and it's okay to say Merry Christmas.
Of course, it's always been okay to say Merry Christmas. The reason why you say happy holidays, especially if you're someone who grew up working in the service industry, is because you're trying to get tips.
You don't want to offend anybody.
And especially not some psychopathic Jews who are like, nah, it's Hanukkah. You got my Hanukkah.
Now.
Right. I was already only going to give you $1. What do you want me to see that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about?
Somebody posted this girl in the Detroit group, and the comment was, oh yeah, I know her. That's E.B. Tisha.
See, my wife's racist. I'm telling you, she has that.
It has nothing to do with her being black.
Of course it does. Oh yeah, there's all those white girls
Okay, so
that are Shakisha or Takesha or something like that. If I told you somebody's name was,
man that said this.
if I know, but you found it funny. If I told you somebody's name was Isha, wouldn't you more than likely assume she was black? I mean, I know there are Keishas who are white, but for the most part, you're going to assume, especially when it gets into like, you know, E.B. Tisha. If I said E.B. Tisha, you would never assume that that was a white girl. Never.
Half a minute.
She looks like Homer Simpson. She looks like Homer Simpson's face, his eyes and his mouth.
Linebacker.
Yeah.
And she was trying to buy
This is my wife. This is
buy
I don't care. I'm trying to have a conversation about other things. To be interrupted about some racist EBT shit is irritating. Why would I care? I'm not even going to show it on the feed. The fuck do I care for? Your wife looks like Homer Simpson. No, she's a lot bigger than Homer Simpson. Yeah, she's a lot fatter than Homer. Because it is based on the truth, that joke is. Ha ha. It's so funny. It's so funny. So stupid. See, like, humor is like, you know, there's like basic easy humor, like John Ritter, or, you know, falling down over the couch and that's funny, fell down again, ha. And then there's like intelligent funny, like Dave Chappelle making you, you know, question your values because he pointed something out to you and it was funny. Like, there's a difference. You know, Dave Chappelle's "How Old Is 13 Really?" thing sure makes you think. Sure makes you think.
That's disgusting.
Well, I mean, what he did was highlight this little 13-year-old black girl who none of you heard of, who had gotten kidnapped and you know, chewed through the ropes, escaped, and brought the cops back to the house to arrest the kidnappers. And that story wasn't anywhere. You know, you didn't hear about little black girl, little EBT in Pittsburgh. While at the same time, dumb white girl, you know, whatever. And he was saying, like, the girl that was supposedly in R. Kelly's video was 13 or 14. You know, if she didn't want to get peed on, she wouldn't be getting peed on. It's pretty simple. George Carlin wasn't funny. I don't. You know, the people that are supposedly the greats, like Richard Pryor and Red Fox and I don't think they're that funny. George Carlin is really smart, and he's interesting, and George, I think George Carlin is funnier in certain ways than Richard Pryor is. I think Richard Pryor is just awful. You know, but it's the same thing with like Dice Clay. You know, Dice Clay appealed to like a bottom denominator kind of thing, and if it was anybody other than some little Jewish kid, he wouldn't have been allowed to be who he was. Oh, talking about making you think, yeah, George was good about it. George was a smart guy, but he just wasn't funny. Like and it's crazy because like if you look up early stuff, I think Richard Pryor's story is one of the craziest stories never talked about, or at least partially talked about, because people always say, "Oh, he was raised in a brothel and his mother was this and blah blah blah." But when you actually sort of break it down, when you break the wall down, can't do it anymore. Oh, you see that like it just doesn't quite make sense. You know, he's raised by his alcoholic, abusive grandmother, and his father was a pimp and a boxer, and his mother was a prostitute, and by 14 he's kicked out of school. He joins the army, where within a few weeks of joining, he and a few other black uh, recruits or whatever, they stab this. They a white guy is laughing too hard at some racist shit. So him and like two or three other people grabbed him, stabbed him up. He didn't die, but Pryor was then put into the brig, where he was then, dismissed and let go of. So this notion that he actually served in the military won't be validated by anyone, because nobody saw him in there, because apparently he was in the jail almost immediately. And now think about this. We're talking about like 50s America, 40s, 50s America. A group of black guys stabs a white guy, tries to kill a white guy for laughing too hard at racist jokes by stabbing him in the military, and he's let out 2 years later. What sense does that make? How does that sound like 50s America to you? He should have been killed. Like, there's just no. I'm just thinking. Gimme.
Alright, you go.
Mom's about to. You guys gotta see this, huh?
Did the mail come?
I didn't see it yet. The mail never comes. What are you talking about? Okay, so you guys got to hear this. I wanted to make sure I get it right. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. I'm stupid and I'm crazy and I blow everything way out of proportion. Okay? You tell me how this makes sense. Richard Franklin Lennox Thomas Pryor. Almost like a noble name. Born December 10th, 1940. Died December 10th, or born December 1st, 1940. Died December 10th, 2005. Was an American stand-up comedian and actor known for blah, blah, blah. I don't care about this. Early life. Pryor was born on December 1st, 1940 in Peoria, Illinois, with Wayne's World, Party Time, Excellent. He grew up in a brothel run by his grandmother, Marie Carter. His alcoholic mother, Gertrude L. Thomas, was a prostitute. His father, Leroy Buck Carter, Pryor, Buck Carter. Why was his nickname Buck Carter? Pryor, June 7th, 1915 to September 27th, 1968. We don't get that information about his mom. Apparently his mom doesn't have a birth or death date. Was a former boxer, hustler, and pimp. Pimps are the worst people in the world, mind you. After Gertrude abandoned him when he was 10, Pryor was raised primarily by Marie, a tall, violent woman who would beat him for any reason, would beat him for any of his eccentricities. You know, because he's a gay dude. Richard Pryor was clearly gay. If you have any doubt, just watch his roast. Just watch his roast. Him and Paul Mooney are obviously a couple. And there's nothing wrong with it other than the fact that they were so outwardly homophobic and pushed so much negative gay press and gay, all that shit. But wait. Pryor was one of 4 children raised in his grandmother's brothel. Here we go. Here comes the hyper jump. He was sexually abused at age 7 and expelled from school at 14. Wow, we're just jumping here. Pryor served in the U.S. Army from 1958 to 1960, but spent virtually the entire stint in an Army prison. According to a 1999 profile article about Pryor in The New Yorker, Pryor was incarcerated for an incident that occurred while he was stationed in West Germany. Angered that a white soldier was overly amused at the racially charged scenes of Douglas Silk's The Imitation of Life film, Pryor and several other black soldiers beat and stabbed him, although the soldier survived. He was a member of the Henry Brown Lodge, number 22 in Peoria, Illinois, where he became a Prince Hall Freemason. That's a pretty interesting hyper jump. So, let's keep going, right? In the military, from 58 until 60, serving 2 years for the attack and attempted murder of a white man with a bunch of other black guys for laughing at racist jokes. How much of that makes sense? In 1963, so he's been out of the military now for 3 years, and in that time he's become a Prince Hall Freemason for some reason. He moves to New York City and began performing regularly in clubs alongside performers such as Bob Dylan and Woody Allen. How did this... If he was lighter, he would look very Jewish. He has the features of a Jewish man. How did this black guy, this effeminate black guy, just arrive in New York and be immediately put on stage with the most popular Jews of the time? I mean, or about to be the most popular. One of his first, on one of his first nights, he opened for singer and pianist Nina Simone at New York's Village Gate. Who does that? How does that happen? How does this guy just come out of nowhere and on one of the first shows he does, he's opening for Nina Simone, who was a name at the time. Simone recalls Pryor's bout of performance anxiety. He shook like he had malaria. He was so nervous. I couldn't bear to watch him shiver, so I put my arms around him there in the dark and rocked him like a baby until he calmed down. The next night was the same, and the next and the next. I rocked him each time. Why? Why was Nina Simone so smitten over this gay guy? Who, the reality is he's not telling jokes. He's portraying black stereotypes to the people who like looking at black stereotypes and laughing at black stereotypes. Richard, do the junkie. Oh man, I'm on so much drugs, man. Richard, do the Elkie. Oh man, I'm so drunk, man. Like that was his act. Initially inspired by Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was exponentially funnier than Richard Pryor. Bill Cosby himself is one of the funniest fucking comedy performances of all time. It's a little ridiculous by today's standards, but it's still funny as shit. Initially inspired by Bill Cosby, Pryor began as a middle-brow comic with material less controversial than what was to come. So then how did he achieve such success? I thought because he broke so many barriers is why he got the success. So why was he already successful without even being different? He began appearing regularly on television variety shows such as The Ed Sullivan Show, The Merv Griffin Show, The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, and The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. Really? How? Just because you say it happened doesn't explain how this guy was just... What was he doing that was just so groundbreaking? I promise you, go look up Richard Pryor. Okay, here's we'll pause it a bunch so we don't get in trouble.
I'm going to tell you a few things about myself because a lot of you probably don't know me. I'm not
Okay, that's we got to pause it.
a New Yorker. My home's in Peoria, Illinois. And
because lots of people can have videos where they literally critique other people's work, review videos, review channels, and they're allowed to exist. I show any more than like 15, 20 seconds or something, my shit's getting fucking blocked. What did he just say? Okay, so he said I'm from Peoria, Illinois. What was funny?
I'm going to tell you a few things about myself because a lot
Okay, stop.
of you probably don't know me. I'm not a New Yorker. My home's in Peoria, Illinois. And
That was a joke. I'm not a New Yorker. My home is in Peoria, Illinois. And he makes that face. Now he's making other faces.
I'm from an average type family, 11 kids. No mother and father, just kids.
Ha ha ha! Ha ha! He's from a house with 11 kids, no mother and father, just kids. Huh. Kind of sounds like what we were talking about yesterday, which is, I've forgotten it, but I actually showed you guys the Betty Boop cartoon from the other day, Wow, was that shit fucking creepy. Betty couldn't wait to get her big break. She was working at a shitty little diner that was shaped like a fucking coffee pot for some reason. But she was miserable, slaving at the stove, making food for this obviously friar, looked like a Groucho character. And she was waiting, and suddenly, like, the mailman showed up at her job and was like, "Hey, Betty, you have been selected to be a nurse assistant or whatever it is at the nursery, at the baby nursery." So she goes, and again, it's weird because Betty's hands look like this all the time. She shows up to the building, and the building is shaped like this huge baby crib, which is weird. But it's a factory where they're basically like making babies, and it's almost, it's like an orphanage, or I don't know what the fuck it is, but babies are coming down on a conveyor belt, like they're being produced, and they're it's a factory, it's an assembly line, and they roll down the belt, and they get their burping, and they get their diaper put on, and they get it's fucking strange as shit. But here, let's see.
When I was young, I used to think why people didn't like me because they used to send me to the store for bread and then they'd move.
His people would send him to the store for bread, and then they would move. Oh, Mac, that's so funny.
I noticed when I was young, like, my people, if they didn't want to holler at you, they'd make a funny move with their body. You ever had your parents do this? If you're doing something wrong, they look at you and go.
Ah! Ah!
I had a wild neighborhood, I got to tell you, because my mother's Puerto Rican and my father's Negro, and we lived in a real big Jewish tenement.
I didn't know that. I didn't know his mother was supposed to be Puerto Rican. That's why he looks like that, huh? And his father was Negro, and they lived in the Jewish tenement.
In an Italian neighborhood. Every time I go outside, the kids say, "Get him, he's all of them."
Ah! Ah! He's all of them. And they're just roaring. That's a standing ovation joke.
I'm a bachelor, I got my apartment. I find bachelors have a lot of hang-ups, like preparing your own
Bachelors have, like, I gotta keep pausing it, right?
food. You ever fix coffee? You get the coffee can down off the cabinet, right? Take the key off the top of the can. You put on that little doohickey. You know what you bleed from? Right? Turn it halfway around the can, it breaks off, right? You gotta get a spoon. You dig in there with a spoon, raise up just enough, stick your hand in there, cut your fingers, right? And guys only know one way to open a can of evaporated milk. Set the milk on the table with a butcher knife on top of the can, slam down the can, go sailing through the kitchen.
That's the only way guys know how to open up a can of evaporated milk, is by putting the can on a table and hitting it with a butcher's knife. What?
Put your knife on top, slam down, the can rolls over, a knife sticks in your hand. Real man, you grab that can, hold it tightly between your knees, put the butcher knife on the can, slam down as hard as you can, and you stand there and cry.
What? What? You cry?
I like New York City. I've been working in the village.
He bowed.
And I like it because they don't serve any booze, just coffee, ice cream, weird pills. And I can kick out the tourists ride the buses. You ever see them? They ride, "Look at the beatniks. Oh, look at them up there. How much of them?" No beatniks in the village. All the weirdos riding buses. Look at beatniks.
What? What the fuck is he talking about? The beatniks? Okay, look at the beatniks. Haha. That's hilarious.
I got promoted cab in New York City, right? Especially when it rains. All the cabs are owned by one company, off duty.
Ha! Off-duty cabs. Ha! That's amazing because, you know, it's raining.
You're lucky enough to get a cab, you get in and say, driver, I want to go to 78. The driver says, I'm not going that way. I want to go to 78 Street. You're going to give me a tip, I'm going to tip your tip over. You don't take me to 78 Street.
Oh, man. You know, all of us not in New York. Boy, that's got to be funny. And the cabbie says, are you going to give me a tip? And he says, I'm going to tip over your cab if you don't take me to 78th Street. Oh, man, that's good.
And I hate to take the subway because the first thing you see when you walk down the subway, some guy down there, give me a nickel.
Yep, got to do the drunk.
Nothing works in the subway, right? Candy machine doesn't work, Coke machine doesn't work. It's not the subway's fault, but it don't work. You ever drop a dime in a Coke machine, your Coke come pouring out, no cup?
Coke poured out with no cup. Oh, man, he's so observant. It's that observational humor. Have you ever put money in a machine and it not work? Oh, my God. Ha!
You gotta watch when you ride the subway, because once I was riding the subway, I caught a guy with his hand in my pocket. I said, man, what you doing with your hand in my pocket? Looking for change.
the guy with the hand, and he made that face, and he was like, I'm looking for change. This guy is groundbreaking, don't you think?
You gotta watch the pickpockets. They slick. See, they bump into you, say, excuse me. Take everything but your pants.
They take everything but your pants. So elbow them in the face. Oh.
On the train riding, somebody bumped into me, said, excuse me. I said, pow! Turned around, woman 80 years old.
Right, yep. You. He elbowed an 80-year-old woman in the face, and then she was crying. God, he's so good.
No matter how packed it is on the train, when the drunk gets on, he gets a seat.
Here we get the drunk. Look, he's doing a drunk impression.
They got the weirdest advertising on the trains. They got things like, if you want to know how to speed right, read the sentence below. They have a sentence
If you want to know how to speed right, read the sentence below.
all chopped up in speed writing. It reads like, flick, 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 underneath that, they say, if you can read that without difficulty, you have a speech defect.
So he speed reading where you get this, and then if you read it, then you must have a speech defect. Oh man, this is fucking genius. Genius. It must have been so difficult to be famous back then. Oh, got a clap. At the nothing he just said. He just got an ovation for this.
They have a sentence all chopped up in speed writing. It reads like, flick, 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 underneath that, they say, if you can read that without difficulty, you have a speech defect.
He literally has to stop going because they're clapping so hard at that.
I watch a lot of advertising on television commercials. Really funny, like the woman, honey, I got a giant in my washer. Yeah, well, they better be gone by the time I get home.
Ah, I got a giant in my washer. Well, you better be gone by the time I get home. Oh. Wow, they're still clapping for that.
You ever see that unrehearsed laundry test they do, right? Miss Jones didn't know we had our cameras hidden, and she brought in her husband's dirty laundry. Miss Jones, what do you think of our wash day detergent? I like it, I love it. I use it all the time. I brush my teeth, put on wash my hair with it.
Look, he's making that face again. Ah! Oh man, you're missing. Oh.
My favorite commercial, I gotta tell you, my favorite is the kid in bed and they get real dramatic, right? They play it up real big. The kid's laying in bed, 9:15. Tommy Jones can't sleep. And they cut to Tommy Jones. Mommy! I can't breathe! Rushing in, it's working! If I don't change, I'm not gonna be ready for... Curtis, what are you doing? What I do?
I don't even understand. Little Tommy Jones is sick. He can't breathe. So the mom runs in and says, "Good, it's working." What's the joke there? Can you imagine somebody doing this set on any sort of competition or anything like that? What the fuck? Anyway, I'm gonna go. There's nobody here anyway, so have yourself a great day.